Welcome back. Here he is, author and world traveler Walt Balenovich with Travels in a Blue Chair, North America's Disabled Adventurer. This is an unbelievable account, over 55 short stories. So good morning, Walt.
Good morning.
I love that you say people could just read a little bit here and there.
Yeah, that's
right?
in the preface. That's what the way I suggest to tackle it is just a few stories before bed, maybe, and hopefully it won't put you to sleep too fast.
No,
but,
where did you get this love for travel? You've been doing it for the last, what, 15 years or so?
I've been doing it for, about 15, a little over 15 years, and I think it was just when I was young. I played a lot of wheelchair basketball and traveled around North America. That sort of got me started, and I realized that, hey, a person in a wheelchair, all you have to do is get on the plane, and the plane takes you anywhere you want to go.
There's no limits.
Exactly, so it's a lot of fun.
I commend you too, because I find I can't travel on my own. Whenever I do, I get so lonely so quickly, but you navigated your way through everything, and you have so many great stories. Let's take a look. You brought some photos. This is, first of all, you as a kid. Tell us a little bit about your childhood and growing up and what happened.
Well, I spent the first 5 years of my life in the hospital, so this is a picture of me. The key to success is to always have a pretty woman by your side, so even at 5 years old, there's always a cute nurse around.
So when you were 5, you were diagnosed with polio?
No, I had polio when I was 12 weeks old, so I spent the first 5 years of my life in Hamilton General Hospital, and my parents and family would come up on Sundays. They didn't have a car. They had just emigrated from the old country, and to keep a sense of family. And it wasn't really traumatic for me. I looked at it, I guess, as just having a lot of playmates for 5 years. And unfortunately for me, they let me out in time for school. So it was out of the frying pan into the fire, I guess.
And where was your very first trip when you finally decided to venture out?
We went up to a buddy of mine, Bill, who's recently passed away a few years ago from my wheelchair basketball team. There was a thermal inversion haze in 1988, and we decided to get out of Ontario, so we went to the Yukon and Alaska, and that was my first time, and I got a bug from that. And then a year later, at Christmas time, I was in Port Dalhousie, part of St. Catharines, visiting a friend of mine from Brock, and he had done 3 years in Kenya, and they were having political problems, much as they are having now. So he had brought his wife, Brenda, and the daughters back, but he was still there for five more months until May, and he said, Walt, have you ever thought about coming to Africa? And I thought, wow, this is a great opportunity. So we just went on safari for basically a whole month.
Which must have been amazing.
It was absolutely fabulous. And Kenya is what everybody thinks about when they think about Africa.
Now we're looking at a picture here. Not all was rosy on your trip there. Tell us about the major mishap that happened.
That's right. This is this is Table Mountain, and basically there's a couple. The story after I left South Africa, I was just there for some R&R for a week. And then I wanted to do some heavy-duty traveling, and I went up to Zambia. Yeah. And unfortunately, I had just arrived and gotten off the plane, had a beer, went to see Victoria Falls. Okay. And there was a German girl, again, another girl is with me, and she was pushing me, and just after seeing Victoria Falls, fell out of my chair and broke my leg. So. Then it was, what do you do what does anybody do, much less somebody in a wheelchair, when they break their leg in Zambia? So some tourists said, well, come over to the clinic. There was a clinic in one of the fancy hotels over there, and then I was hooked up with a South African lady who was an ambulance attendant, and she whisked me off to a private clinic, which was run by an Egyptian guy, and she had told me that he had the only X-ray machine within 1,000 kilometers. So in a way, I guess I was lucky to break my leg there.
But you said it was a lousy machine. It was so blurry.
It was a blurry machine. That's exactly right. So they didn't know whether it was broken or cracked or what. So they put an incomplete cast on. And then about 32 hours later, after flying back to South Africa, up to Frankfurt, and back to Toronto.
You got the help you needed.
I got some Canadian drugs first which were important. And then I drove back to Welland, where I was living at the time, and I went to sleep on the couch because I couldn't get into bed. And then my brother took me to the hospital the next day, and ironically, in the Emerge, I had a South African doctor that took care of me.
Truly is a small world. Speaking of, next you're on a mission to go around the entire world by yourself and document that. And great news, all proceeds, or a portion of the proceeds
are going to go to help to Rotary International's eradication program of polio. There's still 4 countries in the world that have polio.
A worthy cause, so pick it up. Definitely. Travels in a Blue Chair. Go to bluechairbook.com, and it's also available at Amazon and major bookstores everywhere.
You might have to order it.
Yeah. Might have to order it.
Thank you very much.
It's in high demand. Over to Kevin. Thank you. In the newsroom now.